Wow, that's really, really pretty. I think that's a white egret over there. Well, welcome to Bladensburg Waterfront Park, part of Prince George's County Parks and Recreation. I am park naturalist Tanya Johnson. This beautiful park here is a place that you will want to be because you can go picnicking, you can go fishing, biking, kayaking, and so many other things right here in Bladensburg, Maryland.
Hi, I'm Rob Walker, Facility Director here at Bladensburg Waterfront Park, and today you have the opportunity to join us on a virtual tour of the Anacostia River. Come with me. So here we are on board our large pontoon boat named Sunny, and we are currently cruising along the Anacostia River. Now, Bladensburg Waterfront Park is situated at the start of the Anacostia River, just behind us, and right now we're heading south. The Anacostia River is a freshwater river. So unlike the ocean, when you go to the beach, which is salt water, our water has very little to almost no salt in it. And so that determines what kind of wildlife can live here, what type of fish, what type of birds can hunt here, turtles, and other wildlife that live in, around, and on the Anacostia. As we head down river, you'll notice plenty of plants and flowers. We're near the end of the summer, so some of the plants are going to start to die back or change color. Over on this side, we have a whole slew of turtles, and they're basking right now on a log. There's about 5 or 6 turtles right over there. And turtles are reptiles, so they're cold-blooded. So they can't change their body temperature to adapt to their surroundings. So if they're cold, they're going to climb out on a log on top of the water and get that sunshine and get that vitamin D. Helps them stay warm, helps them digest their food. It's also for protection too. They're not going to climb on logs on land because guess what? If a predator or something scares those turtles, do you know what they're going to do? They're going to pop right off that log and swim away, right in the water, right there. We have a lot of different kinds of turtles on the Anacostia River. Red-eared sliders, yellow-belly sliders, mud turtles, cooters, painted turtles, and then we have actually a new big snapping turtle that lives right up near our park that we see pretty regularly. I have something to show you right now. So we were just talking about turtles and some of the turtles that live in and around the Anacostia River. And I have something here. Anybody know what this is? If you said turtle shell, you would be right. So this is actually a snapping turtle shell, one of the largest turtles that you'll find in the Anacostia River. So this is its outer shell, okay? It's covered by these scutes. These are all the different segments. And these actually grow bigger as the turtle gets larger and grows. All right, so just kind of how you think of a tree. When you chop a tree down, you can count the rings to tell you how old the tree is. Same thing with the scutes. You can usually count the lines on a scute to tell how old the turtle is. Now, you might have seen on a cartoon or a TV show at some point a cartoon turtle taking off its shell to go to sleep at night or to take a bath. Well, that's not possible. That's just a thing of cartoon fiction. Actually, the shell grows with the turtle and is attached to the turtle. So if we look underneath here, you'll actually see part of the backbone of the turtle. Because turtles, just like us, are vertebrates, which means they have a backbone, just like you have a backbone. Isn't that fascinating? All right, so we just hopped off our boat Sunny here at a dock, and we're actually still technically in our park right now. We're here at the Bladensburg wetlands. So right behind me, there is a large area of what are called wetlands. It's called a marsh, which is a type of wetland. And wetlands are important in a lot of different ways. They are excellent habitat for a lot of our local animals and plants. They provide a lot of food and shelter and space to grow and spread out, especially to lay eggs and for small fish and frogs to grow until they're able to enter the main stem, the main channel of the river. But most importantly to us as a park and as a community is that the wetlands help filter stormwater. They help filter rainwater. So if you can imagine, if it's raining all over here, then the water is rushing down to the river because the river is the lowest point. But first it has to go through this wetland. And those plants in that area back there helps take out pollution. It actually holds on and traps some of the nitrates and phosphates. It holds on to a lot of the physical trash like bottles and cans and chip bags. It takes all that stuff out. Now it's not perfect. Some of the pollution comes through, But as the water goes through the wetland, it slows down. So it's not eroding and taking a lot of the sediment with it. It's not bringing a lot of the pollution to the main part of the river. All right, so it helps filter and clean the river water in a natural way. It also does that during tides too. So I mentioned tides earlier, about how the high tide will raise the water up and then it will flood into the wetlands, and then that water can actually filter and come back to the river a little bit cleaner and a little bit healthier for the things that live in the river. So this is an area we like to showcase, we like to protect, we like to propagate and grow wetland plants. It's just a beautiful area full of birds and frogs and toads and fish. That is just a rich part of our river ecosystem here. Another aspect of the floods that happen along waterways is some of the debris that comes down the river. So in addition to the water filling up the river and jumping the banks and flooding the area, we also have very large trees and logs that flow down here. Whether they were trapped in a creek or a stream, or whether it's a dead tree that fell over from the storm, we get a lot of large trees similar to this one that flow down the river during large storm events. And so what we need to do is sometimes we need to push them downriver, give them a little nudge, because they get stuck on our docks, they get stuck in our fishing pier, and sometimes we just need to nudge them along so that they go closer to land to decompose, or add a nice feature for turtles to habitate on. So I'm going to take my boat hook right here and see if I can dislodge this one and push it along because it's stuck here on our dock, and send it on its way so it's not trapping pollution or holding up our dock processes. All right, so while we're here, let's take a quick second to talk about some of the safety things that we have to consider here at Bladensburg Waterfront Park, because every time we go out on our boat, every time we go out on the water, we have to make sure we're safe. So there's some special tools and things on the boat and on my person that we use to keep ourselves safe, to make sure our boat ride is smooth. So one of those things is right here in my hand. This is called a boat hook. It's a very simple tool. This is actually an extending one, so it actually gets much longer. It's a simple tool. We can help push off things, we can grab things, so we loop onto ropes, we can loop onto our cleats when we're tying off. It's just a good tool to get things close to ourselves or to reach out over the boat without leaning over the boat, so that we can get things that are farther away from the boat. The other thing I want to point out here is called a bumper. All right, so we have these on either side of the boat. There's one back there, one right here. And these help secure the boat when we're tying off to our dock. It's not doing it right now because it's a low profile dock, but it actually helps cushion and bumper the boat, exactly what the name implies, so that the boat isn't constantly hitting up against the dock, especially during rain or storms. It has a nice kind of pillow almost. It's full of air, like a balloon, to help cushion the boat against the dock. The third thing I want to mention right now is my PFD. Of course, anytime you go out on the water, you don't know what conditions you might encounter. You don't know if you're going to end up in the water going for a swim, whether purposefully or accidentally. So you want to have a PFD, and that stands for a personal flotation device, also known as a life vest. Okay, so I have mine tightened up here, snapped up, and this, of course, keeps me afloat. If I ended up in the water, it'll keep me on top of the water as I either rescue myself or I wait for someone else to rescue me. So this is a must anytime we go on a boat. All of our crew, all of our staff, and all of our patrons and customers are required to wear PFDs for any time they're on the river for safety. All right, next up on the boat right back here, we have a life ring. You've probably seen these in TVs and the movies, but they are on boats and on land because sometimes we might encounter a person in distress and we'll need to toss them the life ring, and they'll need to grab onto it and hold onto it to give them a little extra flotation so that we can pull them back to safety, bring them on board the boat, or get them to land or a dock. It has a long rope attached, so we can also pull them in, reel them in that way. Next up, in the front of the boat, we have a safety ladder. In case we ever have to bring someone on board the boat. You don't want to have to go from floating in the water to climbing up this big wall of boat. So we have a ladder that actually hooks onto the edge of the boat and extends down into the water. So you can just hold onto the ladder and climb the ladder safely onto the boat. And the last thing is our captain console with plenty of with our throttle and of course our steering wheel, with our radio to call for help and to communicate with the park office, emergency lights, and all sorts of features up there that keep the boat running smooth. All right, as we continue on our journey here at the Anacostia River aboard Sunny, we're going to keep heading south, and in just a couple minutes we'll be heading under two bridges. The first one is New York Avenue, or Route 50, and the following one is an Amtrak bridge, a train bridge. And once we go under that first bridge, New York Avenue, we will be in Washington, D.C. We will be leaving Prince George's County, Maryland, and entering Washington, D.C. So as we head downriver and keep our eyes open, keep our ears open to see what we can find and see. We have plenty of wildlife along the river here. We have egrets. We have something splashing over here. What is going on? All right. So we're keeping going down the river. We're going to be heading under the New York Avenue Bridge and the railroad bridge right behind us. But before we do, there's a structure right over here sticking out next to, like, coming out of the park and going underneath the bridge. Does everybody see what that is? Can anybody tell me what that is? It's not construction. It's not a barge. It is a trail. So that is a trail that comes down from our park. It's called the Anacostia River Trail. And it heads down from our park, heads south through the wetlands and through the park, and then goes underneath these bridges and heads down into the side. We'll see one of those birds I was just telling you about, the white egret. There's actually two of them over there. And they hang out on the shallows of the water on the river's edge. See how they have long, thin necks? What do you think they're doing over there? What do you think they're looking for? That's right, they're looking for food. They're looking for fish. So in the shallow parts of the river, they're likely to find small fish or baby fish or even frogs. And they'll pull their head back and snap it forward and pluck fish right out of the water. They're excellent fishers. So this is New York Avenue, Route 50. It's actually a highway that crisscrosses the entire United States from Ocean City, Maryland, all the way to Sacramento, California. So we talked quite a bit about turtles and some reptiles and birds and fish, but there's actually a lot of mammals that live around here too. And actually this is a good spot to keep an eye open because we have a large deer population around here. We have foxes, raccoons, possum, muskrat, and of course humans. All right, so this is our turnaround spot on our usual boat ride. So right next to me right here is the National Arboretum. Now that might be a word that you're not too familiar with. It's not a word we say very often in our everyday language, arboretum. Does anybody know what it means? Let's break it down. The first part, arbor. So you might know Arbor Day, like on your calendar, and that's a day to celebrate trees. And arboretum, it's like a museum, a gathering. All right, so arboretum, a gathering of trees, a museum of trees. So we call the Arboretum a tree museum because that's exactly what it is. It has plants, bushes, shrubs, flowers, trees from all around the world. And they take care of them. And so I might not ever go to China or Japan, but there might be plants in there that are grown and originate in China and Japan and from plenty of other places around the world. And the Arboretum is actually also where the American bald eagles have their main nest, in a tree just down here in the National Arboretum. That's where they lay their eggs, that's where they bring their food back to dine. So they found a nice home in the National Arboretum.
Bladensburg Waterfront Park is one of the best places you can go to get a good catch, right here on the Anacostia River. A fun activity that you can do at Bladensburg Waterfront Park is kayaking, like with Mr. Rob over there. You can also go canoeing, paddle boating, or rowboating, or even ride on our big pontoon boat. Another one of the activities that you can do at Bladensburg Waterfront Park is go biking on the Anacostia River Trail. This trail will take you all the way downtown DC at Nat Stadium and points beyond. You can rent bikes right here and have a blast in the park. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning all about Bladensburg Waterfront Park and the beautiful Anacostia. For more information, go to pgparks.com and we will see you in the park.